Ah!
All right. And we're back. I believe it was your intent to start the process of a long rest while Learas took his 2-hour watch shift at the top of the lighthouse.
Yes, that is correct. Which I didn't want to do first watch, though I wanted to do the second set of 2
All
hours.
right.
So I could gauge where they're going.
I think just with her vision. Wait, is it like we were camping in like the middle of the day or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
More or
Okay.
less. It's still plenty light outside.
Okay. Because I think Cam would take whatever watch was like the darkest and she has the best vision. So I think she just kind of tells Wade, like, maybe you should take up the first watch, Wade, and wake up Learas, and then I can pick up the end.
Okay. Right. Wade going first. Anything you're going to be working on during your watch? It's still kind of the middle of the afternoon. It's probably about 3 o'clock right now. If not, that's fine. You can just make a perception check for me.
If they have anything, let's make a perception check. Perception, click. That's an 11. I can go with passive, which is a 16.
Very nice. Yeah, it seems like, for any purposes of keeping an eye out for monsters or things climbing up out of the water, any threats on the little makeshift camp you've set up near the foot of this lighthouse, everything seems to be a nice fall afternoon day up here at the top of the sand dunes. And Learas, though, time comes for your watch after a few hours, and you intend to make your way up to the top of the lighthouse for this?
That is correct, yes.
Right. With the number of ropes that you had set up in your previous experience navigating the treacherous stairs, you're able to get back up there without much difficulty. And you take up the position in the center of the lens assembly, and I understand it is your intent to see where that shape moving under the water has gotten to.
Correct, yes. And that's a 19 on perception.
19 on perception. So it takes you a little bit of time to scan and find it, but you are able to see a very similar shape moving on a similar trajectory, and it is moving pretty quickly for something as large as it is. You don't really have a lot to give you scale, but just out on the open water there, but just based on your knowledge of the area, probably would guess that something displacing a wake that large would have to be at least 60 feet long, depending on how close to the surface it is.
All right.
And could you make either a survival or insight check for me?
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be, oh, dang, man. That's going to be 15 on insight.
15 on insight. So its trajectory has changed a little bit. It is still heading in your general direction, but if it keeps up the heading that it's going now, you think it is probably not heading directly towards where you are, but rather will skirt around the western side of the island.
How long was the walk back to Harbor Watch?
If your kind of hustling and trying to make some good time, you could get it done in maybe 3 hours.
And based on how far it's moved in those 2 hours, how long do I think before it's like passing by here, that sort of thing?
Probably a similar amount of time to how long it would take you to get to the bigger city, or what's left of the larger village on the southern end of the island.
All right. Then Learas is going to go back down and wake both of them. Well, I've got some bad news. It's moving faster than I realized, and it'll be passing by here in about 2 to 3 hours. I also think that it intends to skirt around the island. It's not coming straight here, which means the people of Harbor Watch may be in danger.
Suggesting we go to Harbor
Yes.
Watch?
I think we have an obligation to do so if we feel that they're at risk.
Had despite the fact that it's the middle of the day, she had fallen asleep with zero issue, and she wakes up and she has to wipe some drool off of her off of her face, and she looks a little bit bleary-eyed, and she's just like, "It's where is it exactly? It's going around the island."
Well, yes, it's that way. And he points the northeast-ish or whatever it was.
Oh.
And based on the way it's moving, I think it's heading more west than it is south now.
Yeah, I suppose they would have to with the dunes there. That's really the only thing. Should we perhaps warn them? I could send a message ahead of time, or do you think we have time to get there?
Unless its speed changes, I think we have time. And I don't know what it is, but I assume we're going to need all the resources we have. It's very large.
Okay. She's gonna start gathering up her things and try to help make this a very brisk walk back if she can.
All right, and y'all get your things together, and you've definitely have had time to consider a short rest if you need to mark that off.
Need another long rest before a short rest will do me any good.
Alas.
You do have arcane recovery, though, right?
Yeah, but you can use that, I think, once before you need a long rest.
Oh, you've already used it?
I think so. I don't remember. I'm just going to say I used it. I feel like we've already had a short rest.
All right, and then you set off. Following the trail would be your fastest way.
Yeah, especially because we're intending to move at a quickened pace.
Yeah. Whoever is guiding, which I'm guessing is probably Learas, make a survival check for me.
I mean, Cam's just as good, but I will do it.
Or Cam can do it.
It's a 16.
16. Hey, that's pretty good. You recall from your journey up here that the side of the lake that you went around was more sort of a curved road, a curved path, which would add a little time if you went back the same way, but you'd have the benefit of familiar terrain, at least familiar in so much as you can be from having traversed it once. The other one is more direct, but you never went that way before. So which way would you like to go as you come upon the fork in the road near the north end of Snake's Eye Lake, and we're using the term road here pretty loosely.
Yeah. Well, let's take the more direct path, I think. If we have to end up going cross country because there's some sort of boundary or something, we'll do that. But...
yeah, and as y'all continue to hustle down the western side of the lake, it proves to be probably the more prudent choice, as there's much less vegetation growing here up in the road, and you're actually able to pick up a little bit more time than you thought you would be able to.
Nice.
So you know, over the course of this, it takes you maybe about 2.5 hours to get back to Harbor Watch, really kind of hustling through the sand here, which would put, in your estimation, the whatever is moving is probably about 30 minutes out from being on a parallel with the lighthouse. So you've still got 2.5 maybe hours till it gets here, if it's coming here.
All right, well, the whole way here I've been kind of turning this over in my head. I think if we can, we should borrow a boat and intercept it. Try to prevent it from actually reaching any of the settlements.
Oh. That sounds exciting.
It is a little bit more dangerous for you, Cam.
I suppose. I can't swim as well as either of you can, but I have options. Are we doing this tonight?
It's on its way. We have to do
Okay,
something.
well then the darker it gets, the more options I have, so.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I didn't realize that.
Yes, I find it much easier to, the sprouting of wings, it just comes to me a lot more easily at this time of day.
All right, then.
Say, Learas, with that with that insight check earlier, assuming it's continuing the same course, trajectory, and speed that it was the last time you saw it, it would be about 8:30 or 9 p.m. by the time it crossed parallel with the docks at Crystal Harbor, or not Crystal Harbor, at Harbor Watch. So it'll be dark.
Yeah.
By the time.
Well, it sounds like darkness is likely to be the scenario. I don't know if we'll have a ship available to us. There was only like one really that was ferrying things back and forth, right?
There was one that you just like found a boat that had someone near it and offered to pay him an exorbitant amount of money to take you out there right now.
I see. Okay. And presumably he's left by now.
That was your understanding, as he was intending to leave in the morning.
He had
Okay.
a wife to get back to.
All right. Well, at the very least, we can warn the guards and take up a post on the dock and hope for the best.
Do you have any idea what we might be facing? I mean, given its approximate length.
Make a nature check if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'll make a nature check. Ooh, I don't know what my nature score is. That's a 22.
Come on, you're wasting your good rolls outside of combat and gonna roll a bunch of nat ones.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sorry. That's all my.
You've never seen one, but with a 22, the things that come to mind are tales that you were told when you were young about sea serpents, large serpentine creatures that have been occasionally seen in the water. The way that people told those stories, this would be a small one, if that's what it is. But the speed, the length, the general narrowness of the wake that it was casting.
Well, I don't, my people have many stories of powerful ancient sea creatures, and none of them are good. And what comes to mind here is the Leviathan, though it would be small if it was one of those. Which
Well, they have
maybe,
to be small eventually, like, right? They don't just start out large.
I suppose, but I don't think,
Like a baby Leviathan? Is that not a thing?
I don't know. We've only got stories of the big ones. And
Maybe they
they
only
lay waste to
become...
armies.
I know.
Mutated Leviathan.
I hope I'm wrong, but
What you've heard about Leviathans, does it make sense for it to just, like, it seems like dead set on Harbor Watch, right?
from what I can tell, it's hard to say. It's a trajectory, nothing more.
Well, also, with all of the magic that's been happening, things probably aren't behaving the way that they normally would.
I suspect it's under the control of the one behind all of this.
And we have been kind of uncovering things and messing around here, so it would make sense to be angry.
It's actually possible that our tampering with things is what set this thing loose on us.
Oh, no. I seem to have a knack for doing things like that.
Well, at least in this case, this wasn't just some mistake. This was something that needed to be done.
Well, at least we got a dragon in our pocket, right?
Yes, and we can always just throw it on the ground and see if it breaks open and the dragon comes out, right?
Perhaps. I don't think it works that way.
Pokeball, go!
Yes. Cam doesn't know what Pokemon is, but Vix was hoping.
I still have a backpack full of fucking crystals, too.
Just hand them to Wade and Cam and we'll set off some big blasts.
They're the purple ones, though.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, right. Well, if I become a bad guy, you know, it'll create a whole new story. I'm sure David would love that.
It'd be great. All right. So what's the plan, y'all? We're just at probably the northern outskirts of the settlement down here. Booking it towards the docks, or
I think we should find that guy that was kind of in charge.
The like guardhouse thingy, which I think was near the docks.
it was pretty close by, yeah. Okay.
Pull up my notes.
Yeah, so y'all continue hoofing it through town, trying to make your way as quickly as possible to the guardhouse near the docks. And one thing you're all able to notice as you get closer to the docks, you come around a corner and have a clear view of the docks and the bay beyond them. There is a single ship that has landed here, and it's a little bit larger than the one that brought you here originally, and you can see a number. There's about 6 or so people sort of milling about on the docks and near it.
Anyone we recognize?
In fact, there is. You recognize a little bit difficult from this distance away, but the halfling outline of Toby Saltfoot is easy enough to pick out, one of the guards that you spoke to before, who had been injured. And then there's a silhouette you can see of human female of some description, which the only person you've met that even closely meets that was the other guard, Sarah Bromley. And there's some other people milling about as well.
No one new to the since we left though.
Oh, there are several.
I mean
new
that
people.
we know.
Those are the two figures that you recognize.
Okay. Well, there's Toby. Maybe we can tell him.
Yes.
I don't see anybody else.
Yeah,
Start
Learas
waving
gonna
her arms and I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
We don't want to cause a panic, right?
No, just to get his attention. Like, wait,
Get his attention. I see.
arms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. If they look, I'll yeah, for sure. But Learas will make an approach towards the boat and
Wade walks over there for like 10 minutes the whole time.
just waving the whole time.
It's like when you hold the door open too early for somebody, but now you gotta commit.
Yeah, and as you get up closer, it's evident what's going on here. Toby and Sarah have some backpacks on, and it looks like there are, some new guards coming off of this boat, and Toby and Sarah switching out guard duty. You're able to
changing of the guard.
figure out that's probably what's going on here. And let's see, actually. Yeah, at one point Toby looks over his shoulder for a second and doesn't seem to, and quickly does a double take when he sees you all approaching rapidly.
Cam, before they close the distance, is gonna look at Learas and Wade. Oh, they're going on the water. Is that maybe a problem?
I don't
We
think
probably
we should.
shouldn't do that right now.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well. It's
Far
much
away are
faster
we?
than the ship. I think that was
David,
too
how
easy.
far away?
How far away?
How far away are we from the people ship?
So you can be as far away as you want to be right now.
Not that
8
far.
miles.
I think Cam says that when it's we're 20 feet away. I think she goes, "Oh, this is probably not a good idea."
Yes,
It takes her
well-
that long.
Toby!
Hey! You made it just in time. We're just about to cast off. You heading back towards the mainland?
That may not be a good idea right now.
What do you mean? What's going on?
Well, we were just at the lighthouse, the Spine's Guide Light.
Spence Guidelight.
Yeah,
I've heard it both ways.
But there's something very large in the water approaching Harbor Watch, and I suspect that if you head out in a ship right now, it will take you down.
It's gonna. How big?
Big.
Bigger than the ship?
Much bigger than the ship, right? Or
Um,
unless it's like a huge barge, I don't know, I guess.
let me measure the boat.
Okay,
It's
so-
you don't think it's quite as long as the ship is.
Oh, fair enough.
It's a little bit smaller than the ship. Just a little bit.
It's almost as long.
Well, what do you propose? What do you propose that we do then? If it's
Well, we were planning to face off with it. I don't know if we'd be allowed the privilege of using the ship to intercept it. Otherwise, we might have to remain here on shore and hope that this was its intended target.
Well, I think Captain Drum, come over here. And this sort of like middle-aged, very weathered human comes like clomping over with very heavy, very footfalls, walking with a wide stance. Looks like he spends a lot of time on a boat. Said, what's this going on here? What's going on, Toby? You yelling for me? Learas here says there's some sort of big monster coming this way, and he wants to use the boat. Is that right? To go after it?
We would like to fight it.
Yes, we'd like to put this thing down before it hurts anyone, and
that too. Yes.
And so I was hoping that I could use the ship and not put anyone at risk, though I know how attached seamen tend to be to their vessels.
Toby and Captain Drum and now Sarah comes wandering over. They all kind of look back and forth at each other a little bit. And then I'll look towards you, and then Captain Drum says, well, if you're going to be using my boat, I'm going to be on it, and I think 2 fully trained and equipped watchmen would not be doing their duty very well if they were to allow some sort of monster to go unchallenged. And
well,
that's right.
Yes, I fully understand that. However, this, and please don't take this the wrong way, may be beyond you.
Well, I don't know how to drive a ship like this, though. Do you, Learas?
I don't, but how hard could it be, really?
Well, Captain Drum kind of looks up and down at you and says, well, you're going to need at least 3 people occupied with the operation of this vessel just alone.
I didn't know that. All right.
And I'll give you a little better description of the ship. This looks like a larger fishing vessel that may have been repurposed to be more of a transport. There's a kind of a cabin at the back of the ship that could provide pretty good cover, where all the helm and the other necessary ship-based equipment is, and it's got about a 10-foot tall mast with a single sail.
Yeah, Learas unfortunately was not taught any of these things because because of things that happened.
How many hours has it been since that fight with the Fomorian?
Oh man, that was this morning.
Okay.
So
I cast 8 on us, so I need to know if that was more than 8, which it sounds like probably.
It has been more than 8, yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's probably the term, so you can go and meet it out on the sea. But we're coming with you. Or you can wait here and see what happens. In which case, we'll also be here.
It does sound like maybe there would be less damage to Harbor Watch if we just went.
Yes, I agree. They're just rebuilding here. It would be a shame if everything kind of got wrecked.
Really would. It'd be a shame if the boat got wrecked before it got out of dock, which, and no offense to you, seems probable if I put you at the helm.
Yes, I suppose that's true. I'll have to study up, I suppose. But
it's getting fairly late now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably about 7:30 or 8 right now.
Okay. Captain, Do you mind if I'm able to share Hayden's vision so that you could see further out on the water? Would that be of use to you during all this?
That'd be incredibly useful.
Okay, so Cam's going to do the thing where she just pulls like that golden thread out of her eye, and she's going to share it with Wade, Learas, the captain, and then she can only do it with another person, so she'll do it to whoever's closest of the people there.
It's gonna be
Or
Toby.
maybe if there's like one that doesn't have dark vision, maybe that would be more beneficial.
I don't think any of them
Well,
have dark vision.
Yeah, halflings and humans don't, so at least two of them don't.
Well, she knows Toby more, so she'll give it to Toby. It's gonna feel weird, and she goes like this to Toby.
Whoa. That's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat.
So, we're trying to intercept this thing.
That's
Yes.
the
Probably
plan.
just going.
We should.
All right. And under your direction, the guards, Toby and Sarah, quickly load their things up onto the ship, and Captain Drum gets to the business of lowering the sails and undoing any sort of ropes and casting off out into the bay. And takes a few minutes to get fully away under oar power, away from the docks, before they let the wind take over, and you are sailing. We'll go ahead and go to the map.
All right.
Boat map.
Oh, no.
Boat
Boat map. All right. What's the plan?
Well, I think Learas hang out just outside of the cabin near the helm, trying to keep an eye out for where he expects the thing to be and trying to guide the captain as best he can.
All right.
Cast Mage Hand.
Good call. That should still be up. Oh wait, no, it shouldn't. Never mind. That's another one of them 8-hour ones.
Cam is just going to be like, should I be trying to draw it over or something? Or are we just hoping that it comes this way?
That's not a bad plan if you have something that you feel would draw it to us.
Can I just be... I think Cam is going to be doing just a bunch of random things. Like, she'll cast light on something, toss it into the water. She'll be like shooting like sacred flames into the water as well in like the same area, just kind of trying to create some sort of trajectory going closer this way.
Yeah. Roll a d20 and add a skill that you feel is appropriate for this. Roll for glitter.
What do you think that is? Natural 1.
Nice.
Cam would have been trying to use like a performance, so it makes sense that she failed.
So Cam is making a spectacular display of this off of the wrong side of the boat. Tech gremlins, you have been vanquished. Anyway, we're back. And we're gonna do some boat stuff.
Yes. We all love boat
It-
stuff.
Give me a fishing pole.
All right. Can I have, as as you're giving Captain Drum the general heading of where you saw this creature coming from, about where you think it should be now, if it's kept that heading, and I have everybody make perception checks for me, please.
Perception. That's an 8. Total of 8.
19.
By passive.
15.
8, 15, and that's going to be a plus. So, Learas, you notice nobody else, not the captain, not Cam. You notice a small ripple heading your way very rapidly under the surface of the water. It looks like whatever was here is now traveling further underneath the surface and is maybe about 100 feet from the side of the boat and heading at it in a straight line very quickly. You've got maybe 2 rounds before it gets here.
Up.
Okay, well, Learas is going to warn everyone immediately. All right, it's incoming, and I think it's about to ram us.
Cam's just like, she's like blasting the water. Oh, it worked. Wait, over there.
Yeah, and he pulls to the other side.
Yeah.
And what is it? 120 feet or less away?
I will say the ripple is 120 feet or less away. How far underwater the creature is traveling is undetermined, and you don't have direct line of sight on it. You just kind of point. Learas kind of points in a general direction, and wait. You just see waves. Learas is somehow able to distinguish the small disturbance that this thing is casting from under the water from the natural, wind-based waves.
I was considering casting slow on it, but it doesn't specify sight.
I don't think slow is sight-based. Just distance.
It's a 40-foot cube. Yeah, it doesn't say you need to see him.
What kind of save is
Okay.
that?
Wisdom. Wisdom 15.
All right. You're going to try and cast slow?
Yep. I figure it'll be harder to ram us if it's going half its speed.
Yeah. All right, and we should probably, once everybody gets an opportunity to take an action, we should probably go into initiative. So are you doing anything on this turn, Cam?
I am going to ready spiritual weapon.
Very nice.
I don't really expect to hit it, but I'm going to pull out my longbow and I'm going to fire down into the water and see if I can't get an arrow into this thing before it attacks us.
All right, sounds good. And then, let's see. That is not the right stat block. That'll do. All right. So, you're casting slow. What's the DC, Wade?
It is Wisdom save 15.
Okay. You feel the magic take effect. And Learas, you can see that the motion slows down. Wade, you can feel the effect grasping onto more than one creature.
Guys, there's more than just that creature there.
In fact, you
That's
can
what I
feel it affecting. You can, with concentration on this magic, you can feel it affecting 4 entities.
There's at least 4 total.
That's an interesting circumstance. All right, so let's go ahead and get those initiative rolls.
13.
15. Wow.
13 for Wade. That's got to be a new record.
15.
15. Holy crap.
Cam, you had 13, right?
16.
16. And let's roll for the boat and roll for those guys. And we will start combat. This music seems a little relaxing.
Yeah.
That's probably because we're all about to die.
How about pirate attack?
Pirate attack sounds great. Let's do it. So this first round, slow goes off. Cam, you're readying spiritual weapon. Learas, are you just firing or are you readying a shot?
I was gonna fire in that round before it hits us, and then
Gotcha.
be ready to actually full out attack on the next one.
Okay, so make an attack roll with disadvantage because you can't see it directly.
That's totally fair. That's a nat 1.
It's the water.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I hit it, and he draws 2 more arrows, and he's ready to go.
All right. Let me read this. Let's see. Minus speed is half. -2 to AC. -2 to dex saves. Can't use reactions. Can use an action or a bonus action, but not both. Whew, boy, this is nasty for them. All right. So it's
Sorry.
it's oddly calm at first, as some creatures that you cannot see get their turns. Sarah and Toby and the captain all ready various bows or crossbows of some sort pointing towards the north side of this ship. And then through.
Sorry, I'm gonna hide, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
That's gonna be 28.
All right. Do you want to hide in like the cabin in the back, or behind
there's like
those
a
crates?
Side wall, right?
Yeah, but it's not terribly high. It's maybe 2 or 3 feet. It's enough. But there is a stack of crates towards the front of the vessel that would provide you a little bit more cover.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll run over to those crates and just kind of duck behind them.
Yeah, so
Ready
you'll
to
have
go.
3/4 cover behind there.
Nice.
Right, so you're hidden. The boat's turn. The boat moves. Wade, we're up
You're
to
just
you.
faster than the boat. Confirmed. Oh,
you're on
you
mute.
muted.
I'm muted, everybody.
Yeah, silent by accident.
Learas was hiding behind those crates over there.
Yeah.
Is there like another spot that's good for cover?
So back in the side of the boat where Toby, Sarah, and the captain are, that is more or less fully enclosed. I just did not put the lid on it so you can see in there.
Best option. What direction is the creature coming from? Is it?
It's coming from what would be the top of this map.
So I should probably not be there. Here's a good spot. So I'll go over by Learas.
Right, are you hiding as well?
Yeah.
Give me that stealth check.
That's a nat 20 for 25.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a good time to do that.
So it's
It's still 3
9.
below what I rolled, but you know.
All right. Something underwater that you can't see gets a turn. Cam, what you doing?
I'm doing the opposite of what Wade did and moving towards the danger.
And you are in dim light or darkness.
Can Cam see any sort of movement of where this thing is?
I'm gonna say by this point, yeah, it's used its action to dash, and you can see. Did that ping come through?
I don't. Yes. Okay. That is how far? Okay.
About 25 or 30 feet from where you are.
Cool. So Cam, she runs up and you can hear like the sound of a chime come out of her mouth, and I don't think she's ever used this spell before. So if it's okay with you, David, I'd like to flavor fairy fire, but like instead of the usual lights, it comes out like gold and silver.
Hell yeah.
And so they need to make a dexterity saving throw, which I think currently they have a penalty to because it's slow.
A -2, in fact. And what's your DC?
Yes.
15.
15 with a -2. Okay, let's see. So that's going to be... All right. Fail, 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 fail.
Nice. You just see the water then light up with silver and gold.
Nice.
And yeah, now you can see the glimmering outline of this creature under the water. I will go ahead and reveal it along with the 3 riders upon its back that you can
Whoa.
make out now as little points of light under the water.
Cool. She is going to move her spiritual weapon up. Can it float on the? I really don't understand.
I'll say sure.
It says floating, so I feel like yeah.
I'll say so. It's not like it's walking around with legs on the deck. That'd be pretty wild.
I'm gonna move it so that it's like 10 feet in front of her out over the water, and that'll be her turn.
Okay, I'm gonna put down a token for that. We will use the first token. We'll change its name to spiritual weapon. All right, so something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the captain is going to try and take a shot at it with his crossbow, which would be at disadvantage because it's underwater, but cancels out because of fairy fire. Hey! Captain hits. Levels his crossbow at it. You can... Not quite sure. Difficult to see, but rest assured that it did hit for an amount of damage.
It's a good amount.
I think I got it.
Good shot, Captain.
Meanwhile, Wade and Learas crouched behind these crates. Learas is like, so do you want to know the weaknesses of one of the little ones first, or should I just focus on the big one?
Big one.
All right.
I just imagine with Learis' stealth check, Wade's like, holy shit.
He turns around and there's just this little hole filled in the side of a crate, and Learas just poking his eye through.
All right. And that brings it around to the Sea Serpent's turn, who is slowed and illuminated with fairy fire at the moment. Let me see. It doesn't see either of you, Learas and Wade. Let's see. It does, though. Let's see.
Cam's just like a glittering thing reflecting the light off her.
Let's see. So its movement speed is halved. So 5, 10, 15. It could get about there. It'll take its buddies on its back with them, and this giant head bursts out of the water, and you can see 3 riders astride its back, all now sparkling with gold and silver glitter and moving very lethargically. But even so, this creature's head raises up maybe 20 feet, 15, 20 feet out of the water, and you can see these massive fangs, large, red crest on its head. It looks like it's taking in some energy, and you can feel it getting colder around you as this blast of icy breath just comes rocketing out of its mouth towards the ship. I need the boat, Cam, and Toby to make Constitution saving throws, please.
I rolled a 4, so that'll be a 7. I was like, please let it be a dex save.
3, 4. All right. So
64 damage.
it could roll that high, but it probably won't.
Oh.
I'm sorry, what?
I'll just get that con save for my spell ready.
Okay, well, that was pretty poor roll on its side. Cam, please take 24 points of cold damage.
It's a poor roll, you guys.
Please take 24.
Is this a spell or like an ability?
This is a breath weapon. It is not a spell.
Okay.
Toby makes a save, which is very good for him.
My fairy fire is still up.
Marvelous. And so then Toby will take half of that. The boat, though. Right, and you can see all of this ice just starts forming on the mast and on the sails and on the body of the boat. And the sails seem to take the worst of it, and they're sort of straining under the weight of all of this ice that has accumulated on them. They have not failed yet, but they're not looking great.
Gotcha.
Actually, need a separate hit point tracker for the different parts of the boat that I did not set up.
It's all right. If it's just the sails, Learas can always pull it back to shore like Jack LaLanne.
All right. And then that is going to be the sea serpent's turn, since it's slowed. It can't really do anything else. Back to the map. Next, it is Toby's turn. He's very cold, but he's going to take a shot at it with his crossbow. Shout outs to that -2 to AC from slow, so I don't think he would have hit otherwise. See, he launches a bolt from his crossbow, and it just finds its way in. Oh, yeah, advantage. That's right. Thank you for that. It was worse, so it still hits. It manages to lodge in between a couple of scales on the sea serpent's neck for good damage roll. Toby, well done. Yep, damage. There we go. Okay. And now it is the turn of the only one of these things on its back that managed to roll lower than the sea serpent, which is going to jump off of it into the water. And as it's doing so, actually, I'm going to roll to see which side it jumps off of. Cool. So it's going to jump off this side. And as it's on the way down, it just emits this horrible high-pitched screech as what initially looked like a regular humanoid mouth opens not only vertically but horizontally as well, revealing just a mouth full of incredibly sharp, thin teeth, almost like needles. And I need Learas, Wade, and Cam to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
14.
15.
What is with my dice rolls? That's a 10.
10. Cam, this
I've been rolled above a 5.
this screech sort of pervades your mind. You are stunned until the end of this creature's next turn.
Boy. Okay.
The two of you save, though.
And probably not getting any closer.
Yeah. So that's going to be its turn. Back to the top of the round. This other one jumps off, sees that the only visible person to it on the boat has already been stunned, into the water. Back to Sarah.
I think being stunned makes my fairy fire
Yes, it does.
stop. So that goes out. Yeah.
The lights fade from the creature.
Ooh.
But Sarah takes a shot at it with her crossbow and misses. Just goes wide. Learas, back to you.
Yeah, well, just checking real quick the components. Would the verbal component for Hunter's Mark break my hide?
I would say that under this circumstance, there's sea monsters shrieking and ice breath going and sounds of combat. It would, in this circumstance, I would say no.
All
Unless
right,
it said you
then
had to like shout it.
I'm going to cast Hunter's Mark on the young sea serpent. And then I would appreciate it if you would tell me any resistances, vulnerabilities, immunities that it has.
It is immune to cold.
Immune to cold. Is that it?
That's it.
So no vulnerabilities. Okay.
No vulnerabilities.
All right. Well then, as though it's not obvious enough already with a cold breath, Learas is just going to say, well, don't use cold on it. Anything else is fair game. And then he's going to come up the top of the crate and fire his first arrow. That's going to be an 18 to hit.
18, you say?
Yes.
That'll hit.
And it's taken damage, right?
It has.
Okay. So it's going to be 2d8 and 2d6. Uh, 15 plus 5, so 19 piercing damage on that first one.
Very nice. Yeah, you absolutely do that. 19 damage.
And then firing off a second arrow. That's only going to be a 16 to hit.
That'll still hit.
Nice. For another 12 piercing damage.
Very nice. Yeah,
So he
just...
Yeah, and well, I can't hide as a bonus action yet, so that's oh, I also cast Hunter's Mark anyway, so
yeah.
And now I'm just visible. I'm actually going to move away from Wade a little bit to not draw its attention to him.
Yeah, you pop up and you can see that Cam is just kind of there reeling.
Then, yeah, he's kind of trying to make himself a target for now.
Cool. Back to the boat, which is going to spend its turn being a boat. Wade.
Wade's boat.
Well, I know Learas is just trying to draw its attention, but I think casting a fireball at 4th level might do that a bit more.
If you like shoot it, but then like stand behind Learas, then it might
and-
still.
As he hears you casting it, because it's become like your signature spell, he's gonna shout, "Fireball!"
Deception check.
And now, Wade, are you using a 4th level spell slot, or are you using a 3rd level spell slot in one of those crystals that you have?
I'm just using a 4th level spell slot. I don't.
You got it.
Yep. Wait, do I still have one of those crystals, right?
Yeah, I think you've got. Somebody's got. Learas has got 4 of them. You've got all 4 of the
I took
new
all 4
ones.
of the purple ones, but he harvested some off that blue crystal,
Okay.
which we believe is safer to use. I don't know if it's if the purple ones are yet.
Find out.
So could I cast it at 5th level then?
You could, using a 4th level slot.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, and
this
there's
will be...
still one of its
increase-
buddies on its back.
That increases the damage, right? Not the
Yes,
radius.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's what, an extra d6, I believe? Yep. Okay, that's a total of...
What's the what's your save DC?
It is Dex 15
And they have a
or
minus
31.
yeah, they both fail.
It's 31 fire damage.
This large, really the most powerful fireball that you've ever seen at a Learas, or at a Wade, excuse me. You said
No, it's not
31?
yours.
Yes, 31.
Yeah, so that fish monster on its back looks like it did not like that at all.
And then I
Anything-
will pop back behind the crate.
Sounds good. You duck back down.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're not hidden, but you do have cover. So this, let's see, slow. Let's make some wisdom saving throws, see if they keep slowed. Okay, one of the dudes under the water manages to shake it off, but the rest of them are still slowed. Forgot to make those on their turns, and then I'll do that for Deep Scion number 3 at the end of his turn, who is going to run up the thing's neck and then jump off into the water again, releasing a terrible screech on its way down. You're just in range. Learas and Wade, could you please make, what was that, wisdom saving throw?
12?
13.
13 gets the job done, but 12 does not. Learas, you are stunned until the end of Deep Scion 3's next turn.
Okay.
But that's going to be its turn, and then Cam, you spend your turn reeling, and you shake the stun off at the end of your turn. The captain is up and not liking seeing the two of you being stunned and caught up in this thing's breath, starts to run out this way to get a better line on it with his crossbow, and does the crossbow thing, which hits. Again, shout outs to Slow for that hit, because it would not have without it. Yeah, just peppering this thing with crossbow bolts. Looked like a little bit of a glancing blow, but it still knocked some scales off. Okay, fails. Cool. Up to the sea serpent now. Let's see if it gets its rhyme breath back. It doesn't. So what does it do instead? It is slowed. So okay. Yeah, it is going to... Oh, that's going to be interesting. You're stunned, Learas.
Yep.
As its large tail raises out of the water and just swings around, taking a wide slap at the side of the boat, aiming mostly for you. That's going to be a natural 20, Learas.
Yep. Sounds about right.
And its tail attack is going to be... You know, that's a pretty low roll, even with the crit. That is going to be 10 damage.
All right, I can live with that. That's not so bad.
And then, let's see. Stunned, you fail dex saves, but I don't think you fail strength saves automatically.
Yes, you do. Strength and dex.
Never mind, you fail. And Cam, you see next to you as Learas gets battered by this thing's tail, and yeah, gets sent flying 20 feet this way off the side of the boat into the water.
I know that.
At least he can.
At least he can swim.
Yeah.
Let's see if the sea serpent shakes the slow. That's going to be a 5 on the die. So that's going to be a big no for that. Toby coming out with his crossbow. Missing again. Cyan number 2. The one that shook the one that shook the slow climbs up the side of the boat and hauls itself up onto the deck next to you. Cam, this creature is not wielding any weapons, but you can see it has these very large claws on its hands, and it reaches out to swipe at you with one of those. It's going to be a 17, which does not hit.
This is true. It's true.
And that's going to be its turn. And do you speak primordial, Cam?
I do
remember.
not.
You do not.
I think
the
he
other
does.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Wade, I'm going to say you here. This creature is speaking Aquan, which is very familiar to you, and it says something to Cam, which she doesn't seem to recognize, but you hear it just sort of growl out something to the effect of, "You have been a thorn in the side of Voxel Solka long enough. They send their regards."
Could you spell that?
Sure can. I'm going to put it in Discord.
So I don't have 6 different spellings of this name every time it comes up, like I do for some other people. Thank you.
You are welcome. And that's going to be its turn. Back to the top of the round. This one uses its entire turn to get itself up on the boat because it's still slowed. And it fails again. Sarah is going to run out at this point forsaking the crossbow for a sword, and is going to take some swipes at it. First one swings wide with her sword. Second one, though, does cleave it in the shoulder. For how much does her sword do? A D8. Well, yeah, and she gets a pretty reasonable blow into the shoulder of Deep Scion number 1. Back to Learas. You're in the water.
And stunned.
Yes, but no longer at the end of your turn.
It's
Wade,
something.
you are up.
Running out of options because my spell slots were not replenished. Oh. I don't know much about these deep scions, but maybe if I cast a chromatic orb at the deep scion number 2. Is that one slowed? I wouldn't know, would I?
You would. You can see how quickly they're moving, and number 2 is not slowed. That's the only one that's managed to shake it so far.
I'll cast chromatic orb 2nd level at deep scion number 1.
You got it.
I'm just gonna roll d20 because it. So that's a 17
That'll hit.
for. We're doing lightning. That is 15 lightning damage.
15 lightning damage. Yeah, it's just this ball of lightning collides into this thing's chest and explodes in a shower of sparks. It did not seem to like that very much.
I'll reposition myself on the other side of the.
All right. Anything else from Wade?
Nope.
Number 3 is up. It is going to try to climb up on the boat as well. And it's going to spend its turn doing that because it's slowed and it needs the movement. And that's a natural 1 against slow, so we're still... Cam, your consciousness returns to you. There is a large sea serpent in front of you, and
I saw Learas get knocked off the boat. Cam's eyes. Usually she looks pretty calm and like she's having fun, but I think right now she's feeling a little bit angry, and instead of the normal gold hue, you see just like this mix of silvery gold in her eyes as unicorns just burst out from her. She's gonna cast Spirit Guardians.
heck yeah. What's
So
the
they need
radius on that? 30?
15.
Or 15? Yeah, that gets everybody.
Wisdom save.
Right. Sea Serpent, natural 1. Deep Scion 1, natural 1. That's cocked. It's an 8 and a 6.
Don't worry,
Alrighty.
he'll get another 20 when it comes back around to hitting Learas.
Not great damage, but 7 damage for 7 radiant damage. And I'm going to use my bonus action to use my spiritual weapon on the sea serpent. That is a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And spiritual weapon is 1d8. Somehow did more damage with the spiritual weapon, so that's 12 radiant damage on on the sea serpent.
Yeah, but you did
See?
7 times 4 with the...
Yeah.
True.
The
But still, I
sea
was rolling
serpent-
3d8.
Sea Serpent's taking some pretty heavy hits here. it's not looking so happy.
Action, bonus action. That is the end of her turn.
Right. Captain Drum is up and still wielding his crossbow in one hand, pulls out a sword in the other, takes a shot at the sea serpent, and then goes for Scion number 1 with his sword. Goes wide. Actually, with slow, that might hit. With slow, that does hit the sea serpent.
Halved speed doesn't stack, right?
I think it would, because it's different effects causing it.
All right.
Because it's
well, then
difficult terrain, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Then it is halved as well again for them.
And then, yeah, sword connects with Deep Scion number 1 as well. That was a really solid hit from Captain Drum there. Deep Scion number 1 is bleeding quite profusely. This is, and now you're going to get on my ship. Right, the sea serpent is still slowed. Let's see if it gets its breath back. It does not, which is very good. Cam, you're right in front of it.
Alrighty.
Let's see. Yeah. So it loops its tail back around with a little bit more precision than you might have expected, and you feel that it's kind of coming in and trying to like wrap you up in its tail.
Alrighty.
That is gonna be, let's see if it can manage to hit you. That is going to be let's see. Okay, slow does not affect it to hit. So it just barely hits you with a 20.
Silvery barbs.
Silvery barbs. That's higher, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
I tried.
You did
You're
try.
given the advantage too.
so I'm being wrapped up in this serpent.
Yes, it wraps its tail around you and constricts you, and you can feel it like trying to crush you. And
Does it get hit by my spiritual?
I'd say yeah,
But
it'll get
must
hit
be-
by that. It does not make its wisdom saving throw.
Okay. That is 8 more damage. I
8
need to
more
stop
damage.
using these digital dice for my damage rolls.
Cam, please take 21 points of bludgeoning damage as this wraps you up in its tail and just
Just gotta make
tries
a
to crush you like a soda can.
con save. Spirit Guardians is still up somehow.
You said that was 8 more damage?
Yes.
All right, and it's going to use its movement then to go under the water.
Ooh. Okay.
And you're going with it.
Let's go.
It's got her! It's got her! You can hear, well, you can't hear anymore, but Toby yells on his turn. Let's see. Fails against the slow again. Marvelous. This thing is not good at that. Toby is going to run out towards number 1 as well. Slash at it. Hit. Miss. Number 1. Okay, there it is. Oh yeah, number 1 is looking real rough. At the end of Toby's turn. Number 2, Cam, you're like out over here now. Yeah, this one is going to run up towards Sarah and try and slash at her with its claws and miss horribly. Number 1 is going to do the same thing. And, jeez, this die is in dice jail. It's another natural 1 on that die for it. Sarah's up. She's going to try and return the favor. It's going to be a hit and a miss. It's not a great damage roll, but it's not nothing. Learas, as you hit the water, your senses come back to you.
Okay. Oh, it's got chem, so I'm ditching my bow, drawing my swords, and swimming the fuck over to that thing. As I'm swimming through the water, casting Barkskin, you see the scales start to form on him, shimmering with light. And as he kind of builds up speed and just comes at the thing with his swords. So I'm going to use that advantage that Wade gave me. And that's going to be a 20 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be 1d8 and 3d6. Doing sneak attack, hunter's prey, hunter's mark, and my swords. That's 21 piercing damage on the first attack. Yeah, and he just like collides with it suddenly. He's like, "Let her go," and jabs at it with his other sword. That's going to be a 17 to hit.
That'll get it done.
For another 12 piercing damage. And then a third and final attack.
When he makes a comeback, he makes a comeback.
It's a 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
For another 13 piercing damage.
How do you want to kill the sea serpent?
Holy shit, really?
You just did like 30 damage to it in one round.
I like this build.
You did more than 30. I lost count, but it was more hit points than it had left.
He collides with it and jabs right in between scales, and like he's carving down as he jabs his other one in, carves his way up a little bit higher, and he can just like hear the heartbeat, and he just gets right in there and twists.
Cam, you are no longer grappled and restrained, but you are sinking, so we'll deal with that on your turn.
I have
My
used
armor.
up all my movement, so yeah.
Doggy pedal.
Yeah, that's everything at Learas. You could maybe move another 5 feet.
I'll move 5 feet towards Cam.
Sure.
You all right?
We'll say you can get in range with Cam.
I don't think she can answer you if we're in water.
All right.
All right.
what else?
Wade, we're back to you.
I got a question. So I know we can like upcast spell with the crystals, right?
Yes.
Is there any way I can use a lower level spell slot, like second level, to cast Fireball, which is a third level spell?
I'm going to say for the purposes of this, you would need a third level slot available for that to go off.
Need more Fireball.
And also that crystal that you channeled the energy from to upcast Fireball is now it's lost a lot of its shine now that you've done that.
What are these creatures like? Do they look? Which ones look bad and which ones don't look bad?
Number 1 and number 3 look like they've taken a pretty good thrashing. Number 2 looks like it's hardly seen any damage.
And would I know which one is going to be up next in combat?
I'll say, yeah, number 3 is up next.
Okay, I'm going to cast. What I have left here.
You see that winding up for another claw swipe towards Sarah.
I cast Chromatic Orb at number 3. So here. That is 16 to hit.
How many?
16 to
16
hit.
will hit.
And 19 lightning damage.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's this another explosion of lightning on the deck of the ship. This guy looks like he's getting pretty crispy. But let's see. It's your action, movement, and any bonus actions you're able to / want to do. Fair enough. All right. Let's see. What is number 3 gonna do?
Die.
Maybe on Cam's turn. We'll see what happens. You have been causing a lot of problems for all of them, Wade. It is going to risk the opportunity attack and run over here. Let's see. Sarah, can you hit it? Sarah can hit it on its way towards you. Oof. She gets kind of a glancing blow on its back as it turns and runs towards you, Wade. And
Is it still slowed?
This is the one that saved first.
Okay.
And it is going to try and make a... It's going to make some claw attacks against you since it's... Dice. There's the D20s. So the first one is going to be a 11. I think that misses. And the second one is going to be a 21. I'm pretty sure that's going to hit you, Wade. Any reactions?
Even a shield wouldn't help me from that.
Fortunately, it's not a ton of damage.
That's good, because Wade doesn't have a ton of hit points.
It's going to be 6 points of slashing damage to you from this thing. And then Cam, we're up to you.
Alrighty. Learas is swimming towards me. I am thinking. Can I... Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can swim upward and without... I really don't know how much heavy armor is gonna impact that.
So make an athletics check with disadvantage.
Well, that's not bad. She has +7, so that would be 21.
Oh yeah, easy. With the 21, I'll say you can move your full movement this round as swimming if you want to, since you rolled over 20.
Cool. So I still... I kind of see that Learas is trying to talk to me, and she's just like... she starts swimming up and resurfaces and sees that everyone is still fighting on the ship, and I'm gonna move the spiritual weapon to that, if it can make it to the one that's like the closest to her.
How far can you move it?
20
I think
feet.
it's 20
Oh,
feet, right?
easy.
Yeah.
Cool. And then
That's number 1.
we'll do a hit for 11 damage.
And what is your spiritual weapon look like?
It is like that card captor Sakura thing, but it's like black and gold. So it's like a little pick with wings on it.
And now it's a little bit red as it absolutely collapses this thing's skull in.
Yeah, that's her full movement, and she's still concentrating on spiritual guardians. Or I guess she could cast another spell. Yeah.
And you can move. You can get back in the boat if you want.
Oh, that didn't take my full movement?
No, I say you weren't far enough under the water. Like you've got 30 feet of swimming, basically.
Okay.
And you're 15 feet from the side of the boat now.
Okay.
Or 10 feet even. So
I'm gonna just climb up there then and make them be in the range of my spirit Guardians again, and also I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt at number 2.
Number 2.
15?
15 will hit.
Oh, cool. That is not the level that I was gonna cast it at. There we go. What is with these? It's 12 damage.
Nice. The guiding bolt collides into this thing's back, and it just becomes covered in that gold and silver disco glitter.
Alrighty. Well, that is the end of her turn. And I think she kind of just looks over to Learas to make sure that he's like all right and following, since he was in the water last she saw.
Do they not take damage from being put into Spirit Guardians again?
It's
On
the
their
first
turn.
time and on their turn.
Okay.
They already took it for the first time before.
The good Captain Drum is going to run around and come face to face with 2. Going to try and pop a crossbow bolt at number 3. That's going to go wide. With advantage on number 2, though. Hey, that's going to hit. That was a 19 on the die. So close. Another good, strong hit from the sword on number 2. Sea Serpent's turn. Serpent's dead. Toby's turn. He's going to do the sword thing. That's going to hit as well.
Actually, it says first time on a turn. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
what that means.
That's
Then
what I
I'd say
thought.
they should have taken it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll roll that wisdom save. It's going to be 11, which doesn't get it done.
Okay. Sorry, that was my own misunderstanding of the wording.
Oh, no, you're good. Spirit Guardians is one of the more ambiguously worded spells, I think.
That was 17 radiant damage.
Ooh, that's more like it. Okay. Sea Serpent's dead. Toby's done it. Number 2. It's actually number 2's turn now, so it gets to do that again. And that is going to be a 6 on that other saving throw. So let's see how number 2 handles just
14
unicorns.
more damage.
Well, with 11 hit points left, how do your unicorns want to do this?
They just like get even more violent in the way that they are running around Cam and just go like horn first through these through the scion.
And you see this like twisted monster just get absolutely perforated by little tiny golden unicorns just punching through its sternum. I'll set his hit points to 0. He's dead. Dude. Shout outs to Spirit Guardians. Okay, it is Sarah's turn, and she can't quite get there, so she's going to pop a shot at Deep Scion 3 with a crossbow, and she's going to miss. Cool. Learas.
Learas is going to get up on that ship. How far up is the climber? Is it pretty easy to just hop in?
I'd say it'll use like 5 feet of your movement to get up the side of the boat.
Okay. Just trying to figure out if I can make it to Scion 3 over there.
I don't think so.
All right. Then I don't know. I'm gonna close the distance as much as I can, and
You can, get to you can get pretty close. You can get to about there.
5 feet, eh? All right. Then, yeah. Sheath a short sword, draw my whip, and as I move my hunter's mark to him, I don't have advantage, but Wade is within range of him, so the first whip crack is going to miss, I assume, with an 11.
11 hits.
11 hits?
11's their armor class.
All right.
It was 9 while they were slowed.
Oh my god. Okay, so then that's going to be the whip damage, hunter's prey, hunter's mark, and sneak attack. That's 15, 18 plus 5, 23 slashing damage.
How do you kill the last deep scion with your whip?
So Learas just shoots out of the water, lands on the edge of the boat, and he takes in the survey, moves his hunter's mark to it, and runs across and says, "Don't worry, wait, I got you," and lashes out. It goes around his neck, and he just yanks, and you can hear the neck snap as he pulls.
Oh yeah, just spine reduced to absolute powder as it hits the ground, and calm. Apart from the occasional celestial whinnying of tiny unicorns thundering about in space, everything seems to be calm for the moment. And I think that's a great time to take our actual break. And we'll come back here to see what's going to happen next in a few minutes.
Hurry up, Craig.
What?
I won't remember to cut that out on the YouTube either. It's going to
I
come
hope you
back
don't.
to that.
Hi, we were on break. Now we're back. In the aftermath of this battle, as things are sort of calming down, the corpse of the sea serpent sort of floating there, starting to sink slowly beneath the waves. Something peculiar you notice on the deck of the ship. The 3 strange fish-like humanoids, in their death, you notice that their bodies start changing shape slowly over the next minute or so after you dispatch them, and the large tentacles that are growing out of the back of their heads start to shrink in, and the extra fins and things on the backs of their legs and backs of their arms start to shrink in and diminish as well. And over the course of the next minute or so, Learas, perhaps particularly striking to you, there are now what just appear to be the corpses of 3 completely average-looking Tritons on deck.
Awkward.
I think he kind of watches this happen in shock for a moment, and then feels compelled to kind of check them over and see if they're anyone he might recognize.
You do not recognize them.
Well, it's not my family.
Oh, that's good, I suppose.
Do Tritons have any unique markings?
Are you asking me or Learas?
I'm asking Learas.
Do Tritons have any unique markings?
Yeah, to distinguish between different.
Your scales have different patterns.
Yeah, I mean, we have our differences like any other race.
I just wasn't sure if there was something to help tell us or you.
Well, my family is mostly my shade of grayish blue, which, as I understand it, is a little less common.
Oh. What color are they normally?
Well, they're usually blue, but some are a deeper navy and some are more of a vibrant blue.
So you're a bit on the paler, desaturated end?
I suppose.
Got those
Really
goth
complicated.
Triton vibes.
Not really at all getting anywhere near close to passing his insight check. A Toby Saltfoot comes up to you, Learas, just like icicles growing off of him at various points, shivering quite badly. It's like, see, told you we could handle it.
Yeah, that's true. You held out much better than I expected you to, and I mean that as a compliment.
I was really cold.
It was really cold.
Are you all?
Yeah, it's
you okay?
Unfortunate that he hit all of you with that and not me. I'm somewhat resistant to the cold.
This must be nice.
Is there anything we wanted to grab from the sea serpent before it makes its slow descent to the bottom?
I don't know if there's anything to grab off of it, but
And if you wanted some of parts of Sea Serpent,
maybe. Are there any of the parts valuable? I rolled a 21 on nature.
You would know there's always a market for interesting monster parts, and this does have two extremely large fangs that are larger than the rest of its teeth. Those might be of interest. They're probably about a foot long and razor sharp. Make a fair dagger by themselves.
Yeah, I'll leap back into the water and see if I can pry those teeth out.
Yeah, I'll say you're pulling two teeth out of a dead creature's mouth is, I'm going to say, trivially easy for Learas.
Fair enough.
You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. My inventory sheet just gets weirder and weirder.
So they went into the water to harvest these things. Is that?
Yeah, I went into the water to pull those
Just
out.
you? Okay.
I only control me, so I don't know.
Wait, did you go with him?
I figured he'd got it, and he's
Okay.
got it under in hand.
So when Learas goes in, then Cam's going to be looking at the now Tritons and just like, but these ones turned back like as if some magic had been cast on them or something. That's strange, right?
Yeah, I don't... Strange. Would I know anything about that? I mean, that's probably like some sort of transmutation or something, right?
Yeah, you could make a Arcana check of some sort.
It's a 19 Arcana.
Okay, so what I would say is you did not see them cast any spells, and the shape-changing magic that you would be familiar with would typically revert immediately when the caster died. And if someone else had cast it, it may not, depending on the nature of the magic, it may not revert as a result of death, or would probably revert immediately. Whatever this is with a 19, if it is some kind of magic that was cast on them, it's not any that you're familiar with, which would lead you to think that this was probably not a spell.
And if it's magic, sure ain't my kind of magic.
I
don't think it's your kind of magic either.
Well, so like, kind of like when Broxel turned into something else. but not permanent. Maybe they didn't have enough exposure or something. Either way, I'm a little bit worried about Learas and what we might find, she says as she sees Learas like coming up from the water, and she just kind of goes quiet.
Wait. Every time we answer a question, there's like 5,000 more questions.
Oh, so I'm not the only one who thought that. I just thought everything was going over my head.
No, everything keeps getting more confusing.
I look at this and I'm like, did these Tritons choose to undergo this transformation, or were they forced? I don't think that's
I don't know.
something.
I can't imagine my kin choosing to become these things. But I suppose it's possible.
Maybe they
So
were
David,
Oh, go ahead.
oh sorry, have I heard of this voxel Solka?
No.
Learas, have you ever heard of a voxel Solka?
David, have I?
Nope.
No, that's another new one to me, but
I guess that's who our person is.
Oh, why do you say that? What is
Well,
that?
you know how one of them was getting all up in your face, growling at you.
Oh, that was talking.
Yeah, they were trying to talk to you. They were saying this. We've been a thorn in the side of this voxel Solka, and they send their regards. I'm like, I feel bad. There's nothing to send back.
that's not true. We're sending something back. Just might take a little while.
Oh, how ominous. Oh, you're not going to explain. Is that like part of the cool?
I mean us.
Oh, okay.
Would it be rude if we tried to check if there was something amongst these Tritons? Like some sort of belongings to identify them, or give us clues as to...
No, it's the right thing to do. We need as many answers as we can get. Just be respectful.
You better at investigating, or...
I think you're the one that does the investigating usually.
You want to help me investigate?
Sure.
Make them investigate check with advantage from the help.
Oh,
Or
with advantage at the 24.
With a
Ooh.
24.
Look at you.
So
Yeah, Learas.
you notice on closer inspection of these creatures a few things. While at a passing glance, these look, just like another Triton. Closer inspection on the arms and the backs of the legs reveal a very, very small, almost like a scar, not quite, where those extra fins had been protruding from their forearms and legs, as well as on the top of the head where those tentacle-like appendages had emanated from. And on the backs of their necks, you see they're very small, just like looks like a little tattoo or maybe a brand of some kind of 3 circles in a line running down the backs of their neck with a dot in the center of each one.
Bring anything to mind?
They were hooked up to the Matrix.
Sorry, I missed part of that. Where the tentacles were, there was what?
It looked like maybe a little bit of very faintly visible scarring or something. And on the backs of each one of their necks, there are three, like a tattoo or a brand of some kind of three small circles in a line with a dot in the center of each.
Are the circles aligned vertically or horizontally?
They're aligned vertically.
This is probably the Soluvian's mark. I can't speak to what he uses it for, what he's done, but
Toby said, "The who?"
Oh, that might take a while to explain.
And the captain looks up at the frozen sails and like, well, we might have some time.
Well, have you got rations aboard? Maybe we should...
Yeah, there's some. Gotta wait for that to melt before we can get anywhere.
Yeah, well, perhaps we can settle in for a little bit, get some rest and some food, and I can explain as much of it as I can to you.
Yeah, and he'd go, just like signal for you to follow him, and there is not enough room for everybody to sit down, but there's like a small table with a couple of seats in this covered area, and cracks open a crate. There's a few rations in there. I think there's enough for everybody to have at least a little something. It does not look like this boat is stocked for 6 people for any appreciable length of time.
I think while we like kind of settle in for this little story time from Learas, Cam is gonna sit and she's going to cast Aura of Vitality and start just like slowly healing herself and others in the area for the next minute or so, as much as she can.
Toby seems very grateful. It's twice you've done that for me now.
Well, it is what I'm here for.
I think we're all glad for that. And the captain and Sarah just like nodding in agreement.
Cam's kept me from the brink of death more than once.
Well, you've done the same for me, Learas.
It's true. I must say I'm really impressed with the magic both of you displayed today.
Well, it's also pretty impressive that you do just as much harm without any.
Well, to be honest, watching you, when things kind of erupted today, I thought maybe I was falling behind, but I think the focus of my training has been proving successful. I've learned a lot about targeting weak points and how to find them, how to identify them.
And you can tell me.
Exactly.
That must be helpful for choosing what type of magic you're going to use.
Well, it helps if they, are vulnerable to it. I don't think we've come across a lot of creatures with specific vulnerabilities yet.
No, though I do believe I can identify them if we do.
But also, if they're immune to something, we can avoid that kind of magic too.
I don't
Which is
have
also
a lot
very... Oh, go ahead.
I don't have a lot of range on the types of magic that I can do, to be honest. So I really hope that doesn't work to my disadvantage.
Unfortunately, nothing that we seem to be contesting with has any sort of radiant affinity. Your holy magic will probably serve us well.
It has been fortunate. I can also do like the opposite kind of magic from that. You know, at the good and the bad. But the
Like
bad.
evil magic?
Well, yeah, like, you know,
I mean,
necrotic is usually seen as kind of like the opposite.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Just don't use it on me.
No, I don't even intend to use radiant magic on you. I mean, like it sounds nice, but it's not. It really burns.
It really looks comforting from a
Yeah.
distance, but the
Maybe-
creatures don't seem to like it.
Maybe that's what makes it so effective. You would think that something that looks so pretty would not hurt so much. Oh, I guess kind
And
of like
Learas-
me.
Learas was literally looking at her thinking that. Yes, a lot like you.
She just kind of like she knows.
Well, to fill you guys in, and I hope you understand, I'm going to be careful with some of the details. Learas kind of like launches into an explanation. He says things like, there is an ancient ruin somewhere in these waters that has ancient information available, and the Soluvian that they suspect is from a different plane accessed this information, and they believe is now operating somewhere here and is causing a lot of the troubles that they're facing.
And
He's
Cam
like leaving
says,
out any specifics because he doesn't want to see a bunch of like normal guards heading off to die.
Mm-hmm.
and Cam chimes in with stuff like, and we met a bunch of rats in a cloak that needs a name too. And she doesn't offer further explanation on like the more obscure details that she adds.
And they'll say, you hear in your mind, Cam, we snuck aboard. We were waiting for the vessel.
Cam like just looks around and she's like, I think she for a second is like, oh, that's good that that actually did happen and I wasn't crazy.
But now that you're informed, you know what we're up against.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
The one saving grace is through all of this, we have, I think, become a more cohesive team and become very proficient at cutting down these monsters.
Yeah, it was definitely good that you were here when that thing showed up. I think we took it down. I think we all made it, but I think I'd rather stick to large crabs.
Yes, that's what I was worried about for you as well. But you held your own. You did well.
It's like now mostly defrosted and healed back up from Cam's magic.
But Captain Drum, was it?
That's right.
I had a few questions for you that are sort of unrelated to all of this.
Well, takes a look at the sails, still defrosting. What you got?
How much would a vessel like this cost?
Oh, well, I guess that depends on if you're trying to commission a new one laid down or find a used one for purchase.
I mean, I'm not picky. What's the more affordable way?
Used is going to be much more affordable. You probably, one like this, oh, if you find someone willing to sell one that's in seaworthy shape, you're really looking talking somewhere around 600 or 700 gold.
He takes a quick look in his pouch. I'm a little bit shy on that. And what about a crew? Having enough hands on deck to actually run it.
Well, you can get away with a vessel of this size with 3 competent sailors. Could crew it. Depends on the nature of the contract you're able to negotiate with them, but it's usually a few silver a day, depending on the skill level of the individual and what their interest is.
And what about someone skilled like yourself who could actually run and oversee the crew?
I guess that depends if they've already got their own boat. That's going to cost a little extra.
Right.
My typical rate, the city provides me with 5 gold a day that I'm at sea on their behalf. Plus maintenance of the vessel, which I will be taking them up on.
Interesting. Well,
How much was the ship cost?
I think you said like 600 gold?
600 to 700 if you're able to find a used one in decent shape.
Thinking like in the future for a certain mission.
Yes. Although I think the sooner we could acquire something like that, the better. There seems to be enemies all around this bay, and having our own base of operations that's also mobile transport would serve us well.
Pam has like 340, so
I have
Right.
a similar amount.
we're not that far off from something like that.
Yeah, we also don't want to spend all our money and then not be able to afford equipment and a crew. But
But I mean, like, a few more missions might help soften the
yeah,
blow.
well, I'm hoping that these fangs will bring in a good price. I don't know what they're worth, but we'll see.
Giant's toe and whatever else.
That's true. Yeah, those are valuable too.
Yeah, you know that at the very least, Broxel would be interested in buying those.
Yeah, we'd have to track them down in the woods, though.
The creature formerly known as Broxel.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was pretty set up in a stationary spot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But then also,
Needed?
does he have money on it? He turned into a monster and ran away.
That is true. He is growing roots currently.
Ask
Well,
us to get supplies for him or something like that, right?
Maybe he can give us something of value that we could easily trade in. But I don't know. We'll help him if we can. And I'm not opposed to trading.
Maybe he could turn whatever we have into something more valuable to trade somewhere else.
Well, yeah, we know that those are good for making potions, so if he wants to make us potions, then we could leave a couple with him. That would be a good trade-off.
So where are we heading once we get back to Crystal Harbour?
I thought we were heading back to, yes, that's. For some reason, I thought you said Harbor Watch. Yeah. But yes, I don't know. There's a lot we need to work through, but in my opinion, one of our priorities should be getting these purple crystals looked at.
The purple crystals were new compared to the blue ones, or were the blue ones?
No, I think that
new?
the purple ones we've encountered before because they're the ones that are infected with the Soluvian's magic or whatever, the Far Realms influence. The blue ones are connected to the Feywild.
Okay. There's also the fact that Uh, we learned some things about Jacob.
Yeah, I want to go kill him, or at least put him down.
What do we think that he was doing, though? Do we want answers? I could use a
Well,
spell that makes him tell the truth.
does it? I've
It doesn't
encountered this
force him.
before. Yeah, that's the problem. Although, of course, I can force him to speak if we need to. I don't like resorting to that kind of questioning, but
So, one thing that you have to remember, you can always tell the truth, but that doesn't always mean you're telling people something that, something useful.
yes,
I think
I'm.
Learas was talking about if you maybe, I don't know, had a puncture wound in your side, you might be more inclined to say things.
That's more or less it. Like I said, I don't like resorting to these kinds of tactics, but when people's lives are at risk, sometimes you have to do things that are less comfortable. But I'm also pretty skilled in interrogating people. I know when they're avoiding a question, answering their own question, that sort of thing.
So we go and get the crystals checked out, and then we pay a visit to Jacob.
We also should probably let Flynn know that someone's trying to frame him.
I do feel a little bit bad about that because I thought he was the bad guy for sure.
All signs pointed to him for a time.
Maybe not totally off the hook. Oh,
Wonder if someone would know about this new person we've heard about, this voxel Solka.
oh, yeah, that would be a good question to ask somebody.
Yes, we should be asking around, doing our research. We
Should
also
talk to
need to.
Ryden about it.
Yeah, Ivan's a good source of information. We also need to speak with Alvatinde again soon. I've got what is it? Giant writings that I copied.
Okay, so we do stuff in the city, and if we don't cause another huge problem that we have to clean up immediately, we can cast ascending to Elvatende, see if she can bring us to her place.
Yes.
That sounds good to me.
You spend a few hours chatting with the captain and the guards while you're waiting for the boat to defrost. Have some snacks, and after a time, the captain thinks that it's it's not completely defrosted, but probably enough to be able to catch the wind without tearing and buckling the mast, and set off in a motion once again back towards Crystal Harbour. And having been at the mercy of the tide for... I missed an opportunity to say the name of the show! Having been at the mercy of the tides for some amount of time, it takes you a little while to get back on track. And, unless there's anything else that you want to do on the boat, you'll... You can get one started. That's for sure. You'll wind up back in Crystal Harbour probably about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Well, then I'd ask permission more or less. But like, do you mind if we just sleep? We need rest. We've been adventuring all day.
After that display you put on with that sea serpent, you can sleep as long as you want.
Thank you. Learas just like finds a spot to lie down.
Yeah, I'll set the there's enough room on the deck for if you've got a bedroll on you to spread it out. If you don't have one on you, you're able to borrow one from.
Yeah. Cam sits down and like the displays out, and Cam's going to sit down next to him and start ritual casting the immense tiny hut, and then she'll go to sleep as well.
Nice.
We'll just throw a bedroll down and use it as a pillow.
Yeah, and you're able to get your long rest. And you awake the next morning, find that you have made port in Crystal Harbour and have been largely left to your own devices.
All right. I'm feeling a lot better.
That
So
was
we call it weave.
It's needed.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I don't know. I don't know if it's how hard I've been training or what, but that day didn't take it out of me as much as I expected it to. I was tired, but
Oh, I felt like I couldn't do much else. Can I just ask, Learas, though? Are you okay?
am I what?
Are you okay?
You know, I probably shouldn't be, but I think I am.
What are you
I
going
don't-
to? What are you going to do if we find out that one of these things have done something to your family? Are you going to be okay then?
How would it change anything?
Well, I mean, it would be your family,
But I already lost them 50 years ago.
I suppose. It wouldn't not hurt to know that they're being used in this way.
I don't know. Seeing those things revert back to people like me made me feel a little sick to my stomach. But I suspect that those Tritons were already dead when this happened to them. And even if I'm wrong, at least it's... If I'm wrong and they weren't, then that's terrible, but maybe that means they can be reclaimed. And if I'm not, then that's also terrible, and it means that what I've lost is truly lost.
Well, we've done so much for I feel like very little recognition aside from in the eyes of Velvetende. And so if it ever becomes too much, I'm perfectly okay with taking a breather. But if you want to keep going, then I'll be here to do that too.
A breather would be nice, but all of this, traveling with you two, and all we've accomplished together, all I've learned because of it, it's only served to fan the flames of my ambition. I wouldn't risk losing our momentum now.
we're going to be like super strong if we keep doing this at this rate. It was only, I think, only a few weeks ago, I was much less powerful than I am now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. My training very gradually improved my abilities for a long time. And now it feels like this incredible, I don't know what to call it, a quickening of what we're capable of.
And then on top of that, Wade, you have all of those crystals that just allow you to do bigger magic. So the stronger you get and the more you use those crystals, I can't even imagine what you'll be doing.
I don't plan on using the crystals unless there's a need. I don't want to become too reliant on something that's not entirely within my own power.
That's very
That's a smart
admirable.
move.
I would be using them all the time.
Just try not to use any of the purple ones until we've had them properly assessed. I don't know if it might have negative ramifications for you.
I don't plan on using them at all. I feel like the risk far outweighs any benefit.
But perhaps if there's somebody at the Hall of Weave who can help us to figure out what risks there may be, what their composition is, what they might have been used for against that blue crystal, I assume they were trying to turn it into one of these. But
We already know that these are linked to the far realm. And like it's similar effects to Skelgi and might have the creature take over your mind.
I think that I don't think you're sure of. I know you had suspected that, but I don't believe you were able to confirm it.
I think there were specific ones that did have the ability to do that, but when they were dispelled, the purple crystal remained, but that ability, they were no longer linked to...
It was the connection that we severed with the dispel magic,
Which may have been to the Saluvian, it may have been to this voxel prime or whatever the fuck.
Voximus prime.
Voxel machina.
Voxel Sopla. It's like a mouthful of like... My tongue has to be in like 4 parts of my mouth at the same time.
It was just something that David came up with when he had something bad in his mouth. It was like,
what's his name?
Yeah, the last time I went to the dentist.
You were like, hey, that sounds good. So what time is it then if we were supposed to get here at 2 or 3, but then they left us to sleep on the boat? Would that have been like
I'd
7
say
a.m.-ish?
7, 8, somewhere in there.
Okay. So, should we head to the Hall of Weave then?
Do you want to stop by Brilliant Baubles first and see if they want these fangs?
I do like talking to them, and I do want more silver glitter. Yes.
It's very convenient because you kind of have to walk. It's very not at all out of the way. So to get to anywhere in town from here, you would kind of have to go by it. So
sweet. That is convenient.
Yeah.
Hopefully that we don't find that their shop is closed and there's a massive like explosion having gone off.
I feel like
again.
that happens often. There's now at this point just every couple of days something.
Just a random store explodes. First it was Broxel's. Yeah, you're you leave the boat, walk up the docks, back into the city proper, and head towards Brilliant Baubles. Just as you're walking down the street, you can see that Brilliant is outside opening the shop for the day.
Just the man I wanted to see. Wait, is that I can't remember their genders.
They're birds. Who knows?
They did refer to one of them as the wife.
Yes.
Yeah, but that could. I mean,
Baubles-
that's still an
Baubles
assumption.
there was a she said about Baubles. So
They both use she, they pronouns.
there you go.
Okay, then. Just the bird I wanted to see.
Learas!
We've been traveling. We've gathered some interesting curiosities you might be wanting to take a look at.
What kind of curiosities?
Have you ever fought a sea serpent?
No.
Well, we did, and we've acquired a couple of its fangs.
And there's like a metal grate kind of gate that comes down over some of the windows, and she just leaves it halfway up. I'm like, let's go inside.
Sounds good. Learas lifts it the rest of the way up on his way in.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it would have been.
Let's go. I want to see that.
Yeah, he heads in, gets to their counter, I suppose, and
Yeah.
pulls them both out of his pack and puts them down.
Wow. Those are some big teeth.
Yeah, and it was only a young one too, but maybe that's fortunate. It's
Picks it up.
light
starts
enough for
turning.
someone to handle.
They're about this long.
You said they were like a foot, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to gauge on camera how far apart your
You don't
hands are.
know exactly how wide my face is?
No. I'm still waiting for that plaster cast to come in.
It hasn't shown up yet?
No, we'll have to check the tracking.
What were we talking about?
The serpent fangs.
I am a Kenku.
Right.
These are really big teeth. Are you looking to sell them, or what's
Yeah, if the price is right. Although, I don't know. What
no,
can
we
you
don't
do with
really.
these?
We're not really teeth merchants. I don't know if that's really a thing.
Well,
bet-
no, but these are the magical teeth of a creature. I don't know.
It's like that's not usually the sort of thing we'd buy, but I bet there would be somebody interested in it if we had like encrusted these in some small gems or something, made it sort of a art piece, if you will.
Oh, maybe.
It's she kind of picks it up and you could do some. You can
Yes,
do
they're
some
very
damage
sharp.
with this. Yeah,
Be
I
careful.
figured that out. Puts it
Maybe-
back down and kind of looking at them a little bit more cautiously.
Do you think maybe a specialized weapon maker or something would be more interested than you are?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm definitely interested, but I think probably a weapons merchant, or I don't know. You say these magical?
Well, the creature seemed pretty magical, so I assume they have some
Magical.
unusual properties.
Yeah, maybe we might be able to figure out we might be able to use them for something, some sort of magical item. Let's see. I probably talked to. Oh, who did I talk to about that? Helvana, maybe. She might be.
Do I know
Helvana
Helvana?
Craigjaw. Yeah. You met her like once, way back. She'd probably be interested, of course. There's all kind of. I think, like, I'm not sure how much money you're hoping to get for these. I'll give you maybe a 50 gold for both of them if you want to part with them right now.
15?
5-0.
5-0. I was hoping for a little bit more, but
A tell you what, you've been good customers. I'll give you 75.
That works for me. 75 gold. All right, I like that.
Counts that out for you and takes the teeth off you and puts them in a small box on the counter behind her.
And I know you're not potion makers. Do you have any use for Fomorian parts?
What parts?
I've got toenails and an eye.
I don't. No, that definitely seems like potion maker stuff.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But with Broxel's shop and all.
Yeah. But anything else I can help you with this morning?
Just this. And she's gonna. Cam comes over and puts like 2 little vials of silver glitter on the counter.
I'll tell you what. He looks around. Bubbles isn't here, so we'll call this part of the 75 gold.
Oh,
It's very kind of you.
Very generous.
You've been very good customers.
well, thank you.
This may be a long shot, but you don't have any sort of any items that might be from the Tritons that used to live here.
Maybe. We've got... If we had anything Triton make, it'd probably be over in that corner. And here. And she'll lead you over to this sort of a rack in the corner of the store opposite the door. And there's what looks like it's basically like old jewelry, bits of broken pottery, old beads that have fallen loose from their necklace. You know, if anybody's ever digging and finds anything interesting, shiny, they'll bring it here. I'm not super familiar with Triton craftsmanship, but if you are, you might recognize something.
Does anything stand out to me as something that might actually be useful, or?
How do you mean useful?
Something that may actually, I don't know, count as equipment or anything.
In this corner, there's nothing that would really count as equipment. This would mostly be like jewelry and beads and things like that.
It is weird seeing my entire ancestry boiled down to just a few lost items.
Sad. That does sound a little weird.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I know absolutely nothing about mine.
It really doesn't, Cam.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You feeling lost does not make me any more found, unfortunately.
Oh, I guess that is kind of nice that it doesn't make you feel better.
He would maybe point out one fairly simple old looking ring, something that has some sort of old Aquan engraving on it, and just say, what would you need for that one?
Oh, honestly, I think Baubles found that, so how's 5 silver sound?
5 silver sounds great. And he'll hand that over.
All yours.
And he takes the ring out and just puts it on his left middle finger. All right, then. Anything else, team, or should we head to the Hall of Weave?
We ask about the name. See if they know, maybe.
I suppose it couldn't hurt.
In our travels, we heard a name of an entity, a person. We're not really sure. This entity is not good. They apparently we've been helping with around Crystal Harbour and Harbour Watch. Apparently, this entity has been at the head of it or a part of it. But we heard the name Voxel Solka.
What's
And
Solka?
we don't know much other than the name.
Voxel Solka. Voxel Solka.
Just accidentally summon some creature.
Turns
You
into
gotta
a
say it 3
collar.
times.
Y'all thought you were memeing about the shop exploding. No. That's nope. Never heard of it.
Probably
Weird.
best to.
It's a weird name.
It is probably best to keep that to yourself for now. We don't.
I can ask around. I know a lot of people, but if I'm going to keep it to myself, that's fine. I can do that. If you think it'll put me in danger.
Yes. We don't.
Mimes doing a zipper along her entire beak.
We just don't know who to trust with specific information. I'm sure you've.
Nods very vigorously.
I think that was it.
I think so.
All right. Well, if you find anything else interesting, you know where the store is.
Yes. Head out towards the Hall of the Weave, I suppose.
Are you intending to confront Jacob Amatha while you're there? If he's in.
I think, given the opportunity, Learas would. I think I want to have some other conversations first, but I do think that Learas will absolutely lose his cool a little bit at this guy.
If we walked in and Jacob is right there and tries to speak to us,
Yeah, there's a good
might
chance
unfold.
it's gonna go nuts. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll figure out, I think, how nuts that's going to go next time. We're just after 9 o'clock. I got some maps that I might need to make.
Hall of Weave maps.
Oh my god. There's a lot of wizards there. If they think we're the enemy, it might be trouble.
Yeah.